A really quick video on everything that I do to start weaning my baby. So this is if you're going to be baby-led weaning, doing purees, a mixture of both. And I'm also going to be mentioning some tips as well for babies with reflux. So I hope you do find this video helpful. So you don't actually need all that much to, start weaning your little one. In the first few months of weaning, they only eat really small amounts. And it can be a little bit confusing, especially if you watch a lot of YouTube videos and it shows like a baby eating what they eat through the full day. Usually those little ones have been weaning for quite a while. And I just wanted to make this video and show like how you get started and realistically what you can expect a baby to actually eat. And just kind of how it works, because I know that when I first started, it was very confusing to know exactly how you should begin and how to introduce it, because they've only ever had milk. And I know that like with choking and things, it can be quite a daunting time for parents. So I just thought the way that I've always done it, I have 3 children for reference, and this is the way I've always started weaning with my children. Now obviously they do recommend to start weaning at 6 months old. So my little one is now 6 months, but she actually started a couple of weeks before she turned 6 months, so she would have been about 5.5 months old. And then my older 2 daughters, so I have a 12-year-old and a 16-year-old as well, they started a little bit earlier than that, but my older 2 didn't have reflux. So I must say, like this time around starting weaning, I was a little bit more nervous starting weaning this time, only because my daughter now does have reflux, and it did make me like feel kind of anxious about it, and that is completely normal. So I just thought I'd make this video showing you what I've done, and I hope you do find it useful. So let's get into it. So first I just wanted to show a few things that I have bought. So the first thing I got were these like very cheap little plasticky bibs. They came in a pack of 3, and they literally they have like the tie string at the back, the little pocket to catch things, and they also have like the little sleeves with like, the elastic around the wrist to stop the food going in, and then they have like the velcro at the back then to secure it all. So they're actually really good, and the 3 of them you could pick quite a few different designs. It only came to £4.60 something, so very, very reasonable, because they're going to get wrecked. And also if they survive long enough, I figure when they get a little bit older, I can pop this on and they can like draw on things. So I thought that was multi-use, which I like. Don't feel you have to get like the really pretty like silicone bamboo type of thing. I mean, if you want to go down that route you can, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. And to be honest, they don't use small bowls and things forever, so I wouldn't recommend spending too much. So these are the Tommy Tippy. They like detect heat spoons, so if the food is too hot, when the spoon is touching it, this part will change colour. It changes to like a yellowy colour, and that's how you know that the food is too hot. So I really like them. They were literally like, I think they were like £1 something, no more than £2, and you get 4 in a pack. One of mine is currently in the dishwasher. And then I just have a couple of the little like cup things. So this is the Vital Baby one. This is basically the exact same as the Tommy Tippy version. So this is the classic one that everybody uses, and it's really good. It doesn't leak. So I really like this one. And then this one I got from Boots. I used my Boots points to buy it, and it was under £2. So you can pick these up really, really cheap. And they're really, really handy, and they're quite easy for your baby to use as well, obviously with like the 2 handles and stuff. They wash up nicely. Now you can get some really, really beautiful ones, which I almost did buy, but I've made mistakes in the past of buying things just because they look nice, and they tend not to be the most practical. So I recommend going with a garish plastic, because your baby will be attracted to colourful things, so they're going to want to use them more basically. So try not to buy everything like white and grey, even though it looks lovely in your house. I mean, they're going to be eating with it, it's going to be full of food, so what's the point, So try and get things the baby's actually attracted to, bright colours and things, because then they're more likely to want to use it. So then I just have the classic IKEA bowls and plates, super cheap. There's like less than £5 for all of these, and then £5 for all of these. And that's what I decided to go with. It was very practical. I feel quite proud of myself actually for doing that. So this is my high chair. It is literally just the IKEA high chair, nothing fancy. And I have a pack of wipes on here ready to go, which is always useful. And then on the back, I actually have a little command hook that I've just hooked on one of the bibs. So this is one of the ones that come in the pack. But yeah, I've just literally popped a bib on the back of the high chair, really useful. And then what I've also done is in my changing bag, I've popped one of those bibs to the other one because it came in a pack of 3. And then another one of the little heat spoons. So I can't remember if this is a 4-pack or a 5-pack, I forget. I think it might be a 4-pack. But the other one is either in my changing bag or in the dishwasher. Because I try and keep a spoon with me all the time in the changing bag. So I highly recommend just popping a spoon and a bib into the changing bag and leaving it there. And then you don't have to have 2 of these, but it's helpful to have 2 because when they first start weaning, they kind of just play with this. If you help them, they will drink water. Like Phoebe, who is my 6-month-old, she actually really likes water and she's taken to it really well. But like my other daughters, it took them a while to like be interested, but they do play with it. I mean, as they get a bit older and they're like having more regular meals and they're drinking more, you're going to need to have one of these in your changing bag all the time. But in the beginning, they can just kind of play with food. They don't really like eat that much, you know? So this is pretty much everything you need. Now the only other thing that I do have in my freezer here is I have like this type of tray with a lid, and I've just used literally an ice cube tray, and this has like mashed potato and veg that's mushed up and frozen, and this is from like a dinner that we had, like a chicken dinner or something. And I just used the like little trays because that, like 1 or 2 of those is more than enough when they first start weaning. You don't need like a massive pot because they're not going to eat all of that. They're literally going to eat like a very small amount. So for the example, these, I would give her, say 3 or 4 little cubes this size, or 1 or 2 of these, and that would be enough for her at the moment. She is 6 months old, but obviously we've only just started. So yeah, when they first start weaning, you don't need loads and loads of food because they're not going to eat it all. And if they're not taking to it, or if you feel like, you know, they're not really eating that much of the food, don't worry about that, because for the first year of life, they get all their vitamins and all the nutrients from their baby formula. So there's no need to panic when you first start if you feel like, oh my god, they're not eating much. In the first few months, they just kind of play with it and watching you eat and like sitting with them at the dinner table, which I know I struggle to do. I think if you've got older children, you're very busy and everything, especially if you have teenagers, it's very hard to get everyone to sit at the table together. But even if you just sit with them while they're eating, that's quite important because it encourages them to copy you and things. And like, as for knowing when to start weaning, you can tell by your little one. So they may be drinking less milk but still seem hungry. They may be really gazing at you when you're eating and things. And they may even try and copy who you're like eating and chewing that you're trying to do. They may mimic you. And you'll just know as a parent that they're not quite satisfied with their milk anymore. You just know. I know a lot of parents say that, but it is true. You will know your little one, and you will know when they're ready. But don't feel like you're not doing it right if your little one has started earlier, if your little one has started later. All babies are different. So they say 6 months is just a guide. And obviously health visitors, nutritionists, professionals, they have to tell you what's recommended by the guidelines. But you know your little one. My first daughter started having solids. By solids, I mean purees, you know, not literally eating, you know, a sandwich. But she would have purees, and she was about 4.5 months old. So, and then, you know, Phoebe was my youngest. She started later. She was 5.5 months old. It just kind of varies. But you will know when they're ready and when to introduce things. And in the beginning, when the first few days you do it, it is literally you're just giving them like a little spoonful of food, and then they play with it, you know. And I highly recommend let them get messy, give them the bowl of mush, put it on like your baby's high chair for them, let them get their hands into it and everything. And what I'm going to do at the end of today's video, I will insert a clip of Phoebe having her dinner so that you can see what she's actually like eating it and everything. Now, I don't know if I'll be talking in that because dinner time is insane. But I will record her eating her dinner for you so you can see like how exactly she does it and everything like that, because I think that'd be very useful. I had to change arms, my arm is aching. So usually you start like one meal of the day. Some people do breakfast, lunch, dinner, whichever one is more useful. I just happen to start doing it on a dinner time. So every time I have dinner in the house now, which is between about 5 and 6 p.m, is usually when we sit down to eat. It doesn't have to be exact, guys. Don't worry about that as well. If you're like a few hours either side, is completely fine. Like I said, they're getting everything they need from their milk at this age, and it's more about learning. But yeah, every time we have dinner, she will have her mash, her veg, or if I'm making something that she can have, she will have some of that. And what I tend to do is have her sit down at the table with me and eat. But if I don't do that, then she will usually, like, obviously you have to be with them constantly, never leave them alone when they're eating. I think we all know this by now. So yeah, we'll just sit down and eat with her. She'll have at the same time as us, and obviously if she's having something that, if we're having something that she can't have, then I will just warm up her baby stash, which I highly recommend having because it's like really, really handy rather than having to like constantly make something up all the time. But don't feel like you have to go out and buy like all these different baby products from the supermarket. If you want to do that, that's completely fine. But you can just give them what you're eating, just don't add loads of things to it. And it's completely safe to give them the food off your plate because, you know, they're human. They can eat what we eat. They just can't have like loads of salt and sugar. So just be mindful of that. If you do like, I don't know, if you add like a lot of salt and pepper to your vegetables, for example, or you see like to season things, just try and put their food aside before you start adding things, you know, so they're having like a more plain version. But they can have little bits of what you have, wherever you happen to be in. If they look interested, give them the spoonful, it's not going to hurt them. Phoebe's had a little bit of chocolate mousse off the girls, do you know what I mean? She's had a tiny little bit of ice cream. I'm fine with it. Everybody will do whatever they choose to do, but that's what I do, and that's what I did for my other two. Every time they seemed interested when I'd eaten them, I just give them a little bit, you know? So, yeah, don't feel bad if your baby's had chocolate. You know, it's completely fine. Yeah, so as for tips for babies with reflux, what I will say is make sure that you have spare clothes, muslin squares and bibs with you whenever you're out constantly, because they go through so many more clothes than they would if they didn't have it. And I would always try and be as prepared as you can, because if you're going to be out all day, I would take at least 2 spare changes of clothes and even a top for yourself, because they can be quite sickly and unfortunately they do throw up quite a lot. So when it comes to weaning and having reflux, there is nothing, you know, it's not going to make any difference. Your baby will still be sick, and they may be like, for example, when my Phoebe first tried broccoli, there was a little bit of like a hint of green in her when she threw up then. So they will still be sick like they always are on their milk. Obviously they still have to have their milk as regular. So don't panic if you do see like different colours and things, it is okay. It's just the reflux. But they are still getting the nutrients they need. They are still going to, you know, eventually learn to eat all of their meals and everything. It's not going to affect it. It's just, it can be nerve-wracking. I remember being quite nervous when I first started, thinking, oh my god, I hope she doesn't like... Because I was worried that she would like throw up like chunks of food, but she does not. It's still like liquidy. So I just wanted, I know going into detail, you know, too much information, but I just wanted to put that out there for anybody whose little one does have reflux and they're going to be starting weaning. Then, you know, don't panic about that. I mean, if your baby's had reflux since they were born, you're probably very used to it by now, and you've got your own systems in place. But I just wanted to put the information out there because until I had a baby with reflux, I didn't realise how much they actually were sick, and, you know, how colicky they can be and things like that. So I just thought I'd put it out there. But yeah, my tips are just, all you can really do is try and keep them as upright as you can after they've had their bottle. Make sure you've got bibs and muslins on the go, and give them extra cuddles. They're going to be sick even if you worry about it or not, so try not to worry about it. Oh, you can hear the little one in the back. I don't know if you can hear that. She's in the background. She's just in the living room playing with her painting in like little donut thing. Let me show you guys. So here is the little one playing in her donut. Are you having fun in there? Bless her. And of course, Dancing Fruit, the soundtrack to all parents' lives these days. Hello. So she's loving little life at the moment. I'm sitting down on my sofa, guys. I'm chilling. So I thought I would sit down for a bit. Oh, bless her. She's really into that right now. So sorry for the music in the background, but it's the only way I can get anything done. But yeah, you don't need a whole lot of stuff. And as for reflux, it's one of those things that, as far as I know, it dies down by the time that they're 1. So I'm hoping it does. But I have literally been, like, I was out in B&M once. It was either B&M or Home Bargains, and literally I picked her up because she was upset, and she literally threw up. It went all over me, it went all over the floor. And then one of my daughters was with me as well, my 12-year-old. And she had to hold her for me while I literally mopped up sick off the B&M floor. It was everywhere. So you're not the only one. I have literally been like standing out in town, had her on me, been covered in sick, you know. been caught on myself for not taking my own advice and having spare clothes for me as well. So that would be my tip. Just make sure you've got wipes, muslins, bibs, changes of clothes for you and the little one. And you can't do more than that. Babies are sick. And most people are understanding, they do throw up. If anyone out there's had a baby with reflux, you will understand that it's gonna happen, and there's not much you can do about it. So don't worry if you're out and about and you get vomited on or the sick all over the floor. We've all been there. I know I have anyway. But yeah, other than those few items, there isn't really a whole lot that you need to wean. I mean, the only reason I got plates and bowls is because when you're serving up dinner, it's just easy to pop it in a bowl and then pop it into the high chair. But technically, you could just put the baby's food on the high chair. And if you wanted to do baby-led weaning, so if you're not pureeing everything, you're not blending everything up basically, and you're just chopping it up, popping it on the high chair, you can give them like the mushed up food, and they will pick that up. It's like Phoebe isn't the biggest fan of being spoon-fed. She doesn't mind it, but she prefers it if I put the food on the high chair, tray itself, and she takes it and picks it up and puts it to her own mouth. She prefers to do that, and she'll actually take the spoon off me and try and feed herself. She's actually been successful a couple of times. And with her little walk cup, she's trying to do that on her own. So yeah, I mean, they're all different. They all prefer different things. But you can't just pop it onto the actual high chair itself. So yeah, I mean, obviously when they start eating more regular and everything, obviously she's only having dinner time, which is usually when we're in anyway. But say for example, we went out to dinner somewhere in a restaurant or whatever, I would just take a little pot. It doesn't have to be you could take it in a Chinese container. It could go in anything, guys. Any sandwich container, any Tupperware that you've got, you just pop a little bit of mushed up food in there for them, and they can have that when they're out. You don't need to buy all these different fancy gizmos and everything. So don't feel like you have to spend loads of money. I would just buy a few essentials and then see how you go with that. And then if you feel like, oh, I need this, I need that, then purchase it. Because otherwise you just end up spending loads and loads of money. And then when they're not weaning anymore and they're eating off normal plates and normal cutlery, you just have so much plastic stuff in your house that you just don't know what to do with, and you just end up chucking it out. So yeah. But I will insert that clip for you guys of her having her dinner later on, so you can see what I actually do and everything. Okay, so it is the next day. I totally forgot to record little Phoebe having her dinner last night. So it is literally spaghetti bolognese. And what I've done is, this is my plate, so I've taken a little bit off mine and then I've just mushed it all up into little bits. So if she did swallow any of this, it's safe for her to swallow these little bits. So yeah, and then I've literally just gotten my fork and this is so soft, I've just cut it all up with the side of my fork. And obviously I'm right here, and I'm not going to leave her, so. But yeah, this is what she's going to have for her dinner. So as you can see, I've popped a bit on, and she's got a towel, well, not a towel, sorry. She's got a little blanket around her while she's in the high chair, just to help her with her stability. So yeah, I literally just pop everything on the high chair for her, and she helps herself. Obviously it's very messy, but I feel like if I do it this way, she eats it better rather than me spoon feeding her. And it also means that I can finish my dinner as well. So I hope you guys did find this useful, being able to actually see her have her dinner and everything. But this is exactly what I do for her. And she's literally been having, she's been weaning now for about 2 weeks or so. And this is exactly what I would do, is just give her a little bit of food off my plate, or put her aside if I wanted to cool down. And then obviously it depends, if dinner time is a little bit later, or, just things are really, really busy, then I will pull something out of the freezer for her. So I highly recommend just popping some mash and veg mushed up obviously into little ice cube tray or something like that, just so you have something in the freezer if you're having something that they can't have that evening. But yeah, she seems to be enjoying that. Yummy! So if you are nervous about weaning, just make a start, and just keep in mind that they do have everything they need from their baby milk anyway. So, but yeah, it's just fun for the first few months food. But you seem to be enjoying that. Anyways, have an amazing day. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Say bye-bye. But I do hope you did enjoy this video. I hope it was useful. I hope you found it helpful. And if you're going to be weaning soon, or if you started, then good luck. And the main thing I would say is just embrace the mess. It's going to be messy, but you can always clean it up, and you will look back and love the memories, and you won't care, I promise. So Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have watched it all, I really appreciate it, and I hope I will see you in the next one. Bye.